Okay, the second half of our practice test two. It's a good mix of lots of problems. So we have a composite inverse first. So we do what's in the parentheses first. Sine inverse 9/10. Our sine inverse is positive, so we are going to draw it in quadrant 1. So I draw my triangle 9/10, sine, opposite, over hypotenuse. So we have some angle theta. So we are going to take the tangent of theta. So I need this side. So I'm going to say a squared plus 9 squared equals 10 squared. So I have a squared plus 81 equals 100. I subtract. A squared equals 19. So a equals the square root of 19. So what is my tangent of theta? 9 over the square root of 19. That's it. Okay, next one, find the distance from A to C. Guys, this is a normal right triangle problem. It was probably in the third lesson we ever did. So they want to know this distance right here. We have this distance in an angle. We do not have our hypotenuse, so we're going to use tangent. Our tangent of 20 equals the distance we're looking for over 140. Biggest thing is you've probably changed your calculator mode around. So look, make sure you're in degrees and hit tangent of 20. I plug all of this in at one time, times my 140, 50.96 if I go 2 decimals feet. And that makes sense. It should be less than the other distance because it's only 20 degrees. Next one, use the calculator to find the value of the following expression. I wanted to show y'all the difference between this problem, where we're only going to have one answer, and this problem. When this problem, we had 2 answers because we're solving for sine of theta, and they give us that they want all angles between 0 and 2 theta. So we have to come up with all answers. When we have inverses, they're defined to have only one answer. So you only need to worry about one. It goes straight in the calculator. Cosine, make sure you're in radians because they want it in radians, so we're going to change it back. Cosine inverse, 6/7, enter, 0.54. That's all you do. Next one is an identity problem. This one they have us set it up one stage at a time. They say write the left side of the expression over a common denominator. That means we are going to multiply this one by 1 minus cosine of theta over 1 minus cosine theta. And this side here by sine of theta over sine of theta. That way my denominator becomes sine of theta times 1 minus cosine of theta in both fractions. And then I can combine my numerators. So on this side I get sine times sine, sine squared. This one they don't want me to expand it yet, so I just write it as 1 minus cosine squared. Then what happens is they want me to FOIL this out. So 1 minus cosine of theta times 1 minus cosine of theta. We get 1 minus cosine theta minus cosine theta, so minus 2 cosine theta plus cosine squared of theta. Now they have this already typed in, so we know we aren't combining this yet. So just FOIL it out and write everything you get here. They just say expand. Then, and the simplifying part is combining the minus cosine theta plus the minus cosine theta. Now they're telling us to apply a Pythagorean identity. So cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. So I have 1 minus 2 cosine of theta plus 1. This 1 plus 1, that's how they're getting the 2. So it's 2 minus 2 cosine theta. Now they're telling us to factor. The only way we can factor is by factoring out this 2. So it's 2 times 1 minus the cosine of theta is my numerator. Notice I have this and this in my numerator and denominator, so I end up with 2 over the sine of theta. Then what is the What do I use to simplify to 2 cosecant? It's a reciprocal identity. Last one on practice test 2, we're going to go back to our formula sheet. This is the formula that I find because I find one that matches this pattern. Make sure you pay attention to this sign. I have cosine, cosine, sine, sine, cosine, cosine, minus, sine, sine. So I'm going to use this side of the formula here. So I'm going to say cosine of 30 plus 30 equals all of this, right? So I'm working this way. So this is the cosine of 60. Well, what's the cosine of 60? You can even plug this in your calculator. It's going to be 1/2, 1/2. That's it. Okay, next I'm doing practice test 3.